Alright, so because the roundels are simple, World War II RAAF, it's just blue and white, I'm using a circle cutter, and that's Tamiya masking sheet. I'm just cutting out the roundels and the tail markings. So obviously that's just rectangular, so that's easy enough. Just measure, that's the ones for this particular model. Just measure your dimensions and tape it up, same as the roundel. Just measure it. It was I think 25 wide, and then just set your cutter, so 12.5 on that cutter. Cut the circle, and then I put the circle on where I want the roundel to be, and then I come in, you can see here, I peel where I cut the circle from and put that around to mask it off, and then some extra tape so I don't get overspray. Now these decals look pretty nice, so there's no problem using them, but just sprayed markings look better. I also noticed for the tail insignia that the blue is forward and the white is to the rear, and normally white faces forward and the blue is to the rear. So I thought, oh, is that a mistake? So I went back and looked at this particular aircraft, those images I found in the Australian Defence Force serial numbers. It's like a website, and that is correct. The blue is to the front, so that's the way I will do it. What I'm going to do is I'll spray the whole section white, and then I cut another circle for that diameter, put that in the middle, and then spray the blue. Then I'll spray the white, mask it, and then spray the blue on the tail one as well. Other than that, it's just your the aircraft number and the serial number and the nose art. So there's no stencil data, yay. Right, so I've painted up the markings, and I've put on the decals. Again, I had the situation of, because I can't see the starboard side of the aircraft, I don't know exactly the positioning of the lettering. So again, I've looked up online, not at this aircraft obviously because I can't see that side. I've looked up, there's a restored RAAF 1, and it's got heaps of photos. So I just followed, even though it's different lettering, I just followed how it's positioned. These went on well, they perform well, and I just used Microsol. The dragon on the nose was a bit more stubborn, he needed a few coats, and I had to get a blade and cut, just slice along the panel lines to get it to sit down at a recess. I'm not sure why, it's the same manufacturer of decal, but yeah, these just went straight down. And even with the a big piece of carrier film with it, and you can't see it, so they are really good. So if you've ever wondered and you're hesitant about aftermarket decals, that's the DK decals, so all good there. So next up, I'm going to give the decals a clear coat, protect them, before I move on to giving it a wash. I've still got to make up the resin wheels, cut them out and clean them up and paint them up. But otherwise, it's starting to near the end. So I'll continue on. Almost finished with the bombs. I just got to paint the fuses on the front. I'll just use a metal colour for that. I add texture to them, even though I'm not sure if World War II bombs had the fire retardant on them, but I always like doing it. It's a nice little detail you can do. I use Mr. Surfacer 500. This is an old Tamiya brush. The bristles are cut down. As you can see, it's been well used. Just dip it in the Mr. Surfacer and you just stipple it on hard till you cover the whole bomb. Let it dry off. And then I got a big box I bought on eBay, I think. They're real cheap O-rings, all different sizes. Put the push it on to the end. It can be difficult to get them to sit because if I use the next size up, it'll just go right along the bomb. It wouldn't work. You need it around the nose area. So I just push them on, even though you may not get it dead perfect, which is also fine because I don't think they sat there in World War II making perfect looking markings on bombs. They would have been pumping them out, getting them out into use. So you spray yellow, let it dry, put your O-ring on, and then spray your olive drab. And when it's dry, just take the O-ring off. It's just a quick way of doing it. I don't use, I know some kits you get decals for that. I absolutely hate doing that. Propeller's almost done. I've just put these manufacturer decals on, so they're still drying. Painted the hub. I just used a bit of steel colour from Vallejo metal colour range. I just hand brushed it on. When it's dry, I'll do a bit of chipping. I'm going to bit of chipping on the propeller blades, do a bit around the cowl, and I'll do some on the leading edge of the wings. Nothing too much, just a little bit. Alright, for my chipping, if you ever buy Eddard aftermarket like Brasson or resin, you get, most of the time, if it comes in a box, you get this sponge that comes in it. As you can see, I've been using this one a while. It's been chopped and hacked, and I just tear a piece off, try and make it uneven. I don't want it neat. And then I'm using natural steel. Obviously use whatever paint suits your fancy or for whatever purpose you're doing. Dip it and then sponge it off, same as if you're dry brushing, and then you just come in, tap it in for your desired effect, how much chipping you want to add to it. Like I said, I don't normally weather aircraft heavy. I'll do a little bit of chipping, or I usually keep it very subtle. It's just how I like to do it. So that's I'll use that for the wings, and if that piece gets too much paint over a time, then you should rip another piece and go again. I'll do the propellers, and the leading edges, and that's how I go about doing it. So I've just finished putting a wash over it. As you can see, it's still wet. You've seen me use this most of the time because it's easy and it works good, does what I want. So that's the dark dirt wash from Flooring Models. I just brushed it on. I've just washed that brush out, but that's the brush I use to brush it on. I've already done the underside earlier, so it's dry. So I let that dry off. And if you want to speed along, just put the hairdryer on it, but I'll just wait for it to dry off, and then I'll get some paper towel and cotton buds and wipe it back.